Okay, everybody. Hi, Thomas Carver here on day 2 of TrueNorth Health in Santa Rosa, California, and I am on my first day of the fast. I had an amazing experience so far. Just my introductory experience to True North has been everything I thought it was and more. First of all, I have to say that the staff is fantastic. Uh, they the orientation was very insightful. Sitting down and working out the cost was very organized and fair, and then of course the accommodations are amazing. I will do a video later on that'll show what my room and the shared area is like in this suite, but it's nice. It's really nice. And so then having 2 visits with interns to check on my health, they were a bounty of knowledge and answered a lot of questions. And then I had a meeting with Dr. O'Connell, I think it is, or O'Connor, and she's really good. Homeopathic doctor, full assessment, went over all my blood work, and I have some, interesting news about that. And she really got into explaining what it takes to fast successfully with me. And as a matter of fact, she had stopped by last night, and we decided that I would start this morning, even though she wasn't able to do a comprehensive meeting with me last night because it was getting a little late. But I mean, it's now, just about the same time yesterday that I made the video, about 3:30 or so, and or 4 o'clock. I've been fasting since I woke up this morning. A little bit of hunger, it's not that bad. I definitely feel, my stomach is used to having food, and also just the ritual of eating is something that I'm noticing I am kind of missing, but not really. Honestly, so far so good. I went to a class, 2 classes today, and both of them were fantastic. I mean, I'll talk a little bit about them. But first about the medical evaluation, and looking kind of at how what my health is and how it affects me being a candidate for a fast, let alone just sort of my general health and understanding how the fast will affect it. All the things that I'm the most worried about showed up in the blood work, but the thing that I've found out is I actually have lost weight just because I was eating like a vegan for the last 3 weeks. I was damn near 250 pounds, 250 pounds. And I weighed myself accurately this morning, and I was 238.7. So I was dropping weight before I got here. And as a matter of fact, uh, I uh, went over the blood work, and my cholesterol had dropped drastically, just from this 3 week fast, or excuse me, eating like a vegan and being as dedicated to it as possible. There was a couple of slips because I was, say, at a restaurant or something like that, maybe had some salt, oil, sugar. I had some bites of bread here and there, but not really anything. Enough so that I saw immediate drastic results. There were uh, the numbers, the A1C. I am on, I mean, before I got here, as of when I got here, I am on the absolute brink of being diabetic, which just scares the heck out of me. And that number is going to go down. It's interesting how she explained how fat is released into the bloodstream, and insulin kind of goes wonky when you fast. And so, they do weekly blood tests, and she prepped me that some of them are going to look a little scary, but then they come down. The body is so sensitive to what we put in it, and I am. here I am thinking I'm super sensitive. No, I'm not. I think I'm very normal. It's even just one day of education has really reinforced that. I just have been pounding my body with the American diet, and I have all sorts of health problems because of it. It's normal. Um, so just to talk a little bit about the education that I have been receiving here, I first met with there's a big group of people here, by the way, who are way cool. They're all here to help themselves, and they're all nutritionists in one way or another themselves, like myself, where we've been studying it for years, but we're trying to coalesce it into something that's real and makes sense for us, and that we can go and implement in the world. This place is hardcore vegan, no doubt about it. And there's amazing benefits from being a vegan. But even the educators said, things happen. And so I think they're kind of hinting that a 95%er would see all the benefits of a vegan. It's the first guy, uh, his name is David Goldman. Really nice guy. He was the first seminar that I went to at 10 o'clock. He talked about nutrition and exercise, but that's his specialty. He actually was specifically talking about longevity. Okay, so the seminar's topic was longevity. And I think what I was most amazed at was the specific chemical metabolic process that is triggered by eating animal products. Okay, specifically cheese and even fish and poultry, cows, everything, turkey. They all have very specific processes in the body that cause more cancer, that cause more heart disease, that cause diabetes, that cause inflammation. My issue with inflammation is a biggie. It's like one of the top reasons I'm here. And they explained chemically why I am having problems with inflammation in my body, which I found out, by the way, through my blood work, that is more centralized in multiple locations rather than systemic, because my creatine level was decent. And so it's that I have arthritis in joints, and it's not a systemic inflammation, even though you could look at it as systemic, because um, the you eat if a person eats meat, then there's bacteria that then is collected. Bad bacteria, there's good bacteria and bad bacteria, but then it's collected in the gut and then into the intestines, and then the antibodies go to work on it. Okay, and the breaking down of that stuff releases all sorts of inflammatory chemicals in the body. So me having arthritis in the first place makes it so that I can't eat those things. I just can't eat them. I'm not somebody who can do it. And anybody shouldn't eat them, but especially somebody who has arthritis. Um, so and that's not the only process that causes inflammation. We talked about, oxidation in the body, and we talked about, again, one thing I had mentioned yesterday, I want to clarify this. I had mentioned a human growth hormone when I was at the Golden Gate Bridge. I want to be more specific about that. It's IGF-1. And essentially what it is it's a aging hormone. It's the one that causes the higher rates of cancer and heart disease, etc. And it's linked with methionine, if I'm saying that correctly. And methionine is directly linked to specific foods. Like, take for instance, an example would be, cheese, milk, tuna, beef. I mean, these things are not made up to trump up being a vegan. They're actual facts that methionine is linked to IGF-1, which actually in higher levels, sustained levels, do cause all of the ailments that are killing people around the world that have adopted the American diet, because the American diet has infiltrated its way into so many cultures that didn't have it before, where they had long lives, like centurions, people living over 100 and healthy and happy, like in Japan. But they do not eat foods that cause these type of chemical reactions, such as the methionine and IGF-1. So we talked a little bit more about essentially uh, what it means to be what it means to uh, do intermittent fasting. Sorry, after we leave, and how that actually keeps that IGF-1 number down, and it makes it so that it's a way to sustain all the gains that are hard earned here by doing essentially a reset on our body by fasting. And the beauty of it is it becomes just sort of the status quo for our body and our palate and hunger, and it's something that needs to be maintained until literally we do it effortlessly. And there are people that fail because they slip and they eat sugar, or they eat meat, or they eat a refined carbohydrate like breads and things, or eating like one guy today, Dr. I can't remember his name right now, but the Dr. Clapper. Wow, that was a really interesting talk. But eating a sugar as food, like a muffin, that just it's always seemed counterintuitive to me. I mean, I've eaten them, and I've always thought while I'm eating them, my God, I'm just eating sugar as a portion, and that no one should do that. We should not eat sugar as a portion. Yes, living life and being happy means that we indulge in a big piece of cake every now and then. That's fine. But to eat it regularly, whoa, that's just not what our body was meant to do. So, again, one thing that he was talking about with regard to longevity was really a good life is putting family first. Don't smoke cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes is the number one killer, and then obesity and obesity related diseases is the second killer. But no smoking. Eat a plant based diet. Even if you have a little bit of meat, eat a lot of vegetables in their natural form. These are the secrets of all of these places around the world that have people that have, there's dense pockets of people that live over 100 and have a great quality of life. They call them blue zones. Get up and move your body. Like they don't do a hardcore exercise. These people throughout their entire life, they just walk everywhere, or they work maybe in a garden a lot, or they just are moving. I have had a terrible sedentary lifestyle mixed with hardcore exercise, sort of like a weekend warrior for years and years. This has contributed drastically to my situation, and there's no excuse to continue doing it. I have to keep moving to change this. The problem is I have pain, and the pain makes it feels a lot better when I just sit. And as a matter of fact, obviously right now, because I'm fasting, I can't take any medication whatsoever. And the anti-inflammatories that I take, by the way, cause leaky gut, where you're transferring proteins through the stomach wall, which cause inflammation. I mean, it's like anti-inflammatory that causes inflammation. I mean, the pill itself actually burns through the stomach wall, essentially. So it can't be a good thing to be taking anti-inflammatories either. And statins, by the way, I told you that I'm allergic to them. Well, statins are a real cheap way for a doctor to get a patient out of trouble with cholesterol. I mean, it's doctors, Western medicine, they just don't know. They don't know to actually attack it through diet and exercise. But anyway, I digress. Let's go back to the list of things that healthy cultures really embrace. Be social. Being isolated is a terrible problem. There's too many Americans that are isolated and egocentric and defensive, and actually being social and being likable and fun and having laughter in your life is critical. Interesting one. Eating legumes. This is something I was told not to eat because of the threat of diabetes. I was told not to eat them. I was told that they are converted to sugar too much, or they're too calorie dense. Oh no, no. This is a essential food. I am learning a lot about that. I mean, in potatoes, I was told don't eat potatoes, carrots, beets, things like this. The foods that are perfectly good for you. I was told, don't eat legumes because it'll make you gain weight. Well, that's just not true. It's just not true. They're the type of calories that don't make you increase weight. They actually satiate you so that if you're eating a plant-based diet, you're not hungry. So legumes are a critical piece to being a vegan. And then, of course, something that I embrace deeply in my life, meditation, reducing stress through meditation, and naps, prayer. I am a Tibetan Buddhist. I study Tibetan philosophy. I've been doing it for a long time now, since really heavily since 1992, let's say. But I've belonged to a Sangha straight since 1994. And I am a meditator. I need to meditate more. Sitting meditation. I used to do a walking meditation that doesn't seem to have as much of the benefits as a sitting meditation. And here I'm really committed to doing a significant amount and reading. I'm reading books that are, by some of the best authors in Tibetan Buddhism that I've ever heard of. Alexandra David Neal. I have 2 books by her. And I'm reading the Reflections on Silver River, the 37 Verses of the Bodhisattva. Fantastic book. Really good book that's just speaking directly to me in my situation right now. It's all about how we react to things, and taking personal responsibility for where our mind goes. And it's a book that's like a laser that just pierces right into the things that I think human beings who unfortunately really listen to that inner dialogue and get swept away by it. This is the antidote to that. There's a lot of people out there that are suffering, and they're in a cycle that they can't get themselves out of. And I'm going to interact with them, and I could get sucked into it. I could be reactive with it, or I could actually have a compassionate standpoint that has boundaries, that makes sense. And that actually is part of my not only mental, spiritual, but also physical health. This is something that I need to do so that I can stay focused on what I need to focus on. So I wanted to also mention that oil, they're talking a lot about oils being a culprit. And essentially one of them here is that dairy and oil, the whole bad bacteria thing I was talking about, their oils are a contributor to that as well, not just animal products. And then Dr. Clapper, who I really recommend you all look up on the internet, he talked about how fat is, once you eat, say, eggs and bacon in the morning, okay, he showed a vial of blood. Okay, a vial of blood where someone eats plants, blood will separate if you have it in a vial. Well, the center part of the separation, it separates primarily into 3 parts. You can see right through it. Whereas if you eat eggs and bacon, then it releases fat into the blood and it becomes milky and you can't see through it. And that lasts for 5 hours. So if you're eating meat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that means that you're going to have fat literally suspended in your blood, and that's touching all of your blood vessel walls, and from when you get up in the morning and eat all the way until 10 at night. And what if you have a late night snack? Then it's well into while you're sleeping. And the idea is that if you're eating a plant-based diet, when you wake up in the morning, you've been burning fat all night long. Okay, and you don't actually need breakfast. You can drink water until you feel really hungry and then eat. But breakfast actually, with this philosophy here, is an unnecessary meal, right in the face of, the old school breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, that's actually not true. There's all sorts of mitigating factors that they went through today in this class that prove that absolutely wrong, which I was very interested in that. It's something I believed in before. But he has all sorts of tricks. He really wants us to succeed. Like instead of having salt, we'll put lemon on things or put a little vinegar on. There's different flavored vinegars. There because the sour receptors are right next to the salt receptors in the palate. So it almost fools the palate to thinking it's salty because people think that being a vegan means eating bland foods. And actually, there are products called like Benson's Gourmet seasonings, and they're instead of salt, they're actually made of a type of yeast, but they have a real salt quality to them. He talked about calcium being, you don't want to take that as a supplement. It actually calcifies parts of the body that you really don't want calcified over a period of time. It's the whole idea of supplements. I've been a card carrying member of the supplement community for decades. And it turns out that it is true. You can get everything you need from vegetables. I didn't think you could. I just didn't think because I thought that, the vitamins and minerals in fruits and vegetables have been depleted because of soils being poor around the planet. But in fact, because of targeting dark green and yellow and all the colorful stuff, and eating it in the right portions and balancing it with starches and legumes, it all works out. It really does all work out. The only thing you can't get is B12 because that used to come from the bacteria in meat or the bacteria in the soil but now we wash, as a culture, the technology makes it so that a lot of vegetables are actually being washed. Hang on just a second. Okay, that was my doctor. They're just amazing here. She came to check my vitals and just really check on me and make sure I'm okay. I can't begin to tell you the amount of support that this place has. I mean, the doctors, the interns, the community, the presenters. The doctors here are homeopathic doctors, and then a lot of them are chiropractors, which I was really surprised to hear. I mean, I know that chiropractors are really into kind of general health and they go outside the box. But these guys are real clinicians, and I'm, I'd be having a bad back. I've had some bad experiences with chiropractors, getting adjustments, and it's not their fault. I mean, they would hurt me though. I mean, seriously hurt me, like lay me up. I couldn't go to work a couple times for a week because of a bad adjustment. Not that the adjustment itself was bad, but I reacted really badly to it. I had sworn off chiropractors. Here is a big chiropractor experience of what a chiropractor can do with his education. And it's cool. It's really cool. As a matter of fact, when I was going to go to graduate school, I kind of looked at 3 routes. I was thinking lawyer, psychotherapist, or chiropractor. And I think, wow, what if I had become a chiropractor? Maybe I wouldn't have gone through all of what I'm going through now. I mean, my God. But I've been able to lead a compassionate lifestyle. My profession is helping people. It's spiritual for me. It's a huge blessing. No regrets. But so now, at this time in my life, I need to adopt what I probably would have learned becoming a chiropractor. I'm going to have to get that good at it, or damn near. But back to what I was just talking about, and that is that B12 is something that we do need to supplement because we have the technology now to clean vegetables so well that it washes it clear off of them. And then there's other things that we need to. One other thing that we need to supplement is vitamin D, apparently, and I'm going to find out more about why. But I mean, I guess it's one thing is that we spend so much inside. Hang on again, sorry. Okay, it's really actually a good thing that this video is getting interrupted so much because that was one of the interns who actually is a chiropractic intern, but very medical, all the vitals, checking in. I actually told him that I had brought this machine that is an amazing massager for the back to release all of the compressed facets that I have. And I'm on no anti-inflammatories at all, and I have been in pain like all day. And this machine, it really does release the pressure, especially where I have the worst twist from the scoliosis that was caused by my big surgery in Germany, at the thoracic lumbar joint. And it just has the pain radiates into my rib cage. It's super bad. So he's a chiropractor, and I was told by my doctor to ask any of the interns, they're chiropractic interns, to use this machine on me. And I showed it to him, and he's like, oh yeah, that's something that we use in my office, and so boom, like I hopped into shorts and t-shirt, and he just totally worked it out. And spent a good half hour with it. And I'm like markedly better. I can move. I was having a tough time sitting in the seminars. And even when I was doing the video earlier, I was in pain the whole time I was doing it. But now I feel like it's released, and the pressure is not there, and I'm much better off. And here I am, doing a video for all of you, and I'm getting interrupted by this fantastic staff. Yeah, I guess that I'd like to spend just a moment just talking about, the environment of this place. They are extremely professional. Of course, this is only my official first day, but everybody is just so impressive. I mean, you can see it in their eyes. You can feel their energy, that they are here because they love it. They believe in what they're doing here. All the way to the front desk staff. And I, so far, can't recommend it more. Now back to really quickly, I want to just finish up with some of the stuff that Dr. Clapper was saying. It really boils down to the fact that being a vegan, eating a certain way, is your business. And obviously, and I knew this before I got here, that if we make these changes, we don't go out in the world and be, evangelical, vegans. And it's not something that we look at people with indignance about. It actually is extremely private. He gave us all sorts of strategies, like being at a restaurant, eat before you get there so you're not hungry, and then and maybe find out the menu before you go, and let everybody order first, and then very privately just ask the waiter to come by and just kind of say, hey, can I have this but without the chicken? Can I have this without the cheese? They're going to say yes. They're going to have no problem with that, and it's not made. There's not a big deal. Like Thanksgiving, you don't walk down the buffet that's been prepared by your family and say, "Oh, I can't eat that. I can't eat that. I can't eat that." I think really just being as low key about it as possible is going to be super key for the follow through part of it, which is what I worry the most about. I put myself through something this tough. And then to have it slip through my fingers and fall back into the old habits because of cravings, because, my family maybe has foods that are really, really enticing. This is about commitment. I mean, it is an all-out commitment to health. He talked about how the commitment, you just visualize that you're committing to specific organs in your body, that it's undeniable. The American diet is attacking us internally, and our minds, our clarity of thinking, our memory. What do we want the end of our life to look like? Do we want to be in a care facility? My mother's in a care facility right now, and I had a super emotional visit with her. She has Alzheimer's and dementia, and I don't know, I think that from what I'm learning here today, a lot of it had to do with what she put into her body for all those years. I mean, that we're in charge of that. We decide if we're going to, say, smoke cigarettes or eat hamburgers, 2 hamburgers a day, or, if we're going to eat meat 3 times a day, which is a very common thing. I mean, most Americans, they don't even know what it's like to skip a meal. They eat 3 big meals a day with snacks every single day, when in fact, fasting has been proven to stave off memory loss and dementia and Alzheimer's. I mean, this is something that is very real. There's actual clinical studies. This is all science-based stuff. None of this is quack science. Like take for instance, I used to have like a very big prejudice against the idea of this diagnosis, leaky gut. Well, the more I looked into it, it just made absolute sense. You can't be eating all of these irritants to that stomach lining without thinking that it's just like the intestines. It's going to become a kind of a skin blood barrier to intake things that it was not designed to do. It was meant to have this kind of mucosal layer with the acid that breaks things down for the intestine to then do the uptake of nutrients and chemicals and all the things that can be problematic as well as beneficial. So it's about caring about your quality of life at the end of life, which has roots in Buddhism with me. I mean, people that know about Buddhism, they say, oh, you live your life and then you die, is the, sort of what people joke about Buddhism, and because they focus on death, so that we're not afraid of it. It's just part of life. But so much of the training that I've gotten over the years says that, it all comes down to those final years in our life where we're born as a baby, and then we go through this life into adulthood and then aging, and then we kind of become childlike at the end. But we have that life experience, and it's a defining time how we die. We either do it with an active, mind and body, all the way to the end. And the actual death is a short part of our life, and it's done without grasping, and it's acceptance and it's awareness, and we pass on, or it's this 10-year drawn out process that my mother, God bless her, I see her suffering, and I don't want that for my father. I don't want that for my siblings. I don't want that for my wife. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want that for me. I mean, I accept, we don't choose how we die, but we can do whatever we can to make it a death that gives us the full opportunity to enjoy the people we love all the way to the end. And my mom is not getting to enjoy people because she is struggling, because she knows who I am, but she wants to go home so badly that it's fear. She's completely terrified, and I'm in emotional pain seeing it. But there's the link to what I'm doing now. I mean, I'm 51 years old. I'm taking control of my health to make myself immediately better, and to give myself the best opportunity to maintain my gains here, which, by the way, I don't think it's a bad idea so far, to maybe come back here from time to time, every other year or yearly. Some people come back every 6 months, I heard. But to make it so that it's immediate, maintainable, and then rolling into an active quality of life for decades, many, many decades. Maybe I'm at the halfway point rather than the 2/3 point. I mean, who knows? So with that good message and all of the commitment and excitement that I have right now, I'd like to say thank you to you all. Please like this video and comment below. Thank you.